If you're a Canon shooter in 2026, you've probably asked this question: is the Canon R5 Mark II really worth the upgrade, or is the original R5 still good enough? Well, today in this video, I'll be breaking down the improvements, the real-world pros and cons, and who should buy the R5 Mark II. This way you can decide if it belongs in your bag or if your money is better spent elsewhere. Hi, Steve here, and welcome to the channel. Let's go ahead and get right into this. The Canon EOS R5 Mark II is Canon's 45 megapixel full-frame mirrorless flagship hybrid and sitting just under the R1. It keeps the same resolution as the original R5, but adds new back illuminated stack sensor, a faster processing, and a seriously upgraded autofocus system. Now, Canon is clearly aiming this camera for wedding and event shooters, wildlife, sports photographers, and independent filmmakers who want one body that does both high-end stills and 8K video. Now, the first headline change is the 45 megapixel illuminated stack CMOS sensor. Compared to the original R5's front illuminated sensor, this new design gives you several things, such as a much faster readout and up to 30 frames per second with electronic shutter. It's now got a reduced rolling shutter, and Canon claims up to at least 40% less distortion in electronic shutter compared to the original R5. It also has clean, detailed files with 14-bit RAW and strong low-lights performance. Behind that sensor is a Digic X plus a Digic Accelerator combo, which Canon says drives their fastest image processing yet and enables AI-based features like neural networks, noise reductions, and in-camera upscaling to 179 megapixels. For action shooters, the camera can fire up to 12 frames per second in the mechanical shutter and up to 30 frames per second with the electronic shutter while still tracking focus. Now, one of the biggest reasons to look at the R5 Mark II is the autofocus. Canon has moved to dual pixel intelligent AF, which borrows a lot from the R3 and the R1. Now with this, you get deep learning subject detection for people, animals, and vehicles, plus an improved recognition of upper bodies in crowded scenes. It also gives you subject tracking that stays locked even if your subject is briefly obscured, like during sports events or even dancing. It also has eye control autofocus, which lets you move your autofocus point just by looking through the viewfinder, which is now more accurate and more responsive than it was on the R3. Real-world testing and early reviews generally report noticeably faster and stickier autofocus than the original R5, especially for action shots. Now, there have been some user complaints about the video autofocus after specific firmware versions, which Canon will likely keep refining, but the consensus is that the autofocus performance is a clear step up. Now, if you shoot video, the R5 Mark II is a big upgrade over the original R5's overheating reputation. Now, the key features include 8K RAW up to 60p recorded internally, plus oversampling of 4K options from the full sensor. It also has an improved heat management, allowing longer recording times in high-resolution modes, which is a major quality of life upgrade for hybrid shooters and solo filmmakers. There is also dual pixel intelligent autofocus in the video with subject tracking and eye detect and focus breathing correction for supported lenses. The video menus now show Cinema EOS style terminology, making it easier if you're coming from Canon's cinema line. The camera also lets you capture stills and videos simultaneously without breaking recording or adding tools like pre-shoot buffering. So this means you can also capture moments that just happen before you fully press the shutter. Now, a few more things that make the R5 Mark II nicer to live by day, that is the in-body stabilization and up to 8.5 stops with compatible lenses. It has the same 5.76 million dot OLED EVF, or electronic viewfinder, as the R3, with up to 120 frames per second refresh for each clean, responsive view. In camera upscaling and neural network noise reduction, you can also generate ultra-high resolution images or cleaner high ISO files without leaving the camera. The weather sealing, voice memo, and multiple optional battery grips are aimed for working pros as well. So you may be asking, who is the Canon R5 Mark II for? Well, it makes most sense if you happen to fall in these categories here. If you happen to be a wedding photographer, event photographer, sports shooter, or someone who needs fast, reliable autofocus, 30 frames per second burst, and better rolling shutter behavior than the original R5. Also, if you're a hybrid creator or indie filmmaker who wants an 8K and oversampled 4K with improved heat management and cinema EOS style video controls. A wildlife photographer who can really use that stack sensor, high frame rate, and subject tracking, especially if you're already invested into RF glass. On the other hand, some photographers may argue it's not essential if you fall into this category here. You already own an R5 and you don't regularly hit its limits for the AF burst rate or video heat. Or perhaps you mainly shoot slower paced portraits, landscapes, or studio work where 30 frames per second and stacked sensor speeds are less critical. In that case, keeping the original R5 and putting money into lenses might be the smarter move for you. So that's the Canon R5 Mark II in 2026. It's a seriously powerful, fast-featured packed hybrid body that improves on the original R5. But only you know if you actually need that extra speed and intelligence. Now, if you're thinking about switching or upgrading to the R5 Mark II, drop a comment below with what you shoot and what camera you're coming from. Let us know if this is going to shape whether this body is an overkill or a perfect fit for you. Now, if this breakdown has helped, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and check that bell and be notified of upcoming videos. Again, this is Steve. Go out there and document your world through photography. Later.